Hello, and welcome to another segment of Smoke Signals. I'm your host for today's show, Lieutenant Chris Taylor from the LaGrange Fire Department. We have a great show lineup for you today, and we have a special guest from the LaGrange Fire Department that will be discussing topics concerning the mid-year report, fire safety in October, and also a special community event hosted by LaGrange Fire Department. So sit back, relax, because you're about to watch Smoke Signals. Welcome back. Today we have with us Deputy Chief John Brandt from the LaGrange Fire Department. Hello, Chief, and welcome to the show.
How you doing? Nice to be here.
It's always a pleasure to have you to come on the show and talk to us about some very important things concerning about the LaGrange Fire Department. But before we get into our topics for today, if you could tell us a little bit about yourself, how long you've been with the fire department, and what your roles and responsibilities are.
I said I'm a deputy chief. I'm a paramedic. I've been with the department now for 20 years, in a couple of days now anyway.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Seems like yesterday just started, you know. Time has really flown by, so
it has.
Enjoyed it. I'm a deputy chief over State Battalion, which is a shift commander.
Okay.
We have 4 stations and 17 people on each shift.
Okay.
And so over the day-to-day operations of 2nd Battalion.
Okay.
I also oversee the training division. Mm-hmm. We have 1 person in training now, so.
Okay. All right, sounds good. And I'm quite sure, you know, with the roles of being a deputy chief, there's a lot of responsibilities there, and of course, especially dealing with training, there's a lot that you have to oversee and make sure that the department is up to par with all the different standards and requirements.
And it is, and we're lucky. We have a great training officer, Caleb Harrison, Lieutenant Harrison, and you know he does most of the work, and you know, I help him whenever he needs it, and just make sure we keep everything rolling and we stay up to date on everything. And but he does a great job for us.
Okay, all right. Well, like I mentioned earlier, we have several topics that we want to talk about today that's very important. And the first thing we want to get into is let's talk about the department's mid-year review. Okay. Things that have taken place that the fire department has done so far this year. And first thing we want to talk about, since you mentioned about the training division, what types of training has the department completed so far?
You know, Chris, we do a lot of training, and one thing I do want to brag about, you know, this year we've had, at this point in time, we've had 15,000 more training hours than last year at this time.
Wow. And
I reviewed it, you know, over the weekend and looked at everything to make sure there wasn't a misprint or right. You know, a typo or whatever, but you know, that's a great accomplishment there, and mm-hmm. You know, we try to log in everything we do that we can consider training.
Right.
And so our guys doing a good job of doing that, and you know, anything they do on and off duty, you know, they're logging in the computer in our management system, mm-hmm. and so they're keeping up to date with that, and that's showing our progress right there. But you know, 85% of our calls are EMS related, so mm-hmm. we try to have as much EMS training as we can.
Right.
We use outside agencies to come in and train our folks. So that was one mm-hmm. big thing we hit this year. We've had 3 people in paramedic school this last year. Okay. 1 receiving their paramedic certification. Okay. The other 2 are testing or waiting for results at this time.
Okay.
You know, we got 4 people right now working on associate's degree, 1 working on bachelor's and 1 working on master's.
Okay.
We also have other people in our department that already have those degrees, but these guys mm-hmm. are working towards that.
Right.
We've also had 4 people attend arson level 1 at our state training center.
Right.
And there's 2 levels of that. They're 2 weeks apiece, so 4 weeks total. And to add, if we could add 4 arson investigators to our department, would be huge.
Right.
This last year, I think for the last 5 years, we've had an officer retreat, which what we do is as officers, we get together and train annually It's a 2-day event,
Right.
16 hours of instruction. And this year we did it in Pine Mountain,
Right.
and it gave us time to step away from the department and bring in some outside instruction.
Right.
Sometimes, it gets repetitive if the same people are teaching, day in and day out.
Exactly. And not to mention, that was some very beneficial training, and like you said, having those outside instructors to come in, that means a lot, because a lot of times, when we hear information that is similar to the information that we're preaching, in our department, people probably take it a little bit more seriously, or it's a little bit more personal to them.
It does help out, these guys do know what they're talking about, and we actually had a guy come in that was phenomenal in his teaching and had a lot of statistics to back it up, a lot of tests, and there's no sense in us having to go out and do those things when other people have documented the tests and come in and show us what they've done.
Okay. Have there been any staff changes made over the past 6 months?
Yes. Several years ago, we decided as a department that we want to become a accredited agency. And at the time, we was working on it on a shift level, which everybody kind of had their own responsibilities, and we worked hard on it. There was a certain time last year that we said, this is not progressing the way we think it should,
right.
And or we wasn't up to, getting it done as fast as we thought. So we decided to become to have a accreditation manager. And we didn't, budgeting always an issue. We didn't want to pull from our suppression staff, which is the people that go out and serve our community.
Right.
And so at the time we had 2 training officers. So what we did was we pulled a training officer, put him back on shift, and pulled a suppression person and put them on staff as accreditation manager.
Okay.
That's one thing we don't ever want to do, is we never want to shorten our staff for the people that's responding to people in need.
Right, exactly. And that makes a lot of sense to me, because, and we're going to talk about that here in a few minutes, our call volume is just, off the charts now. And,
Sure.
and whether the community realizes it or not, we spend a lot of time in the road now than we used to.
Yes.
Because we got more and more people in our community. There are people who are needing more and more services from the fire department. So that makes a lot of sense, not to be pulling from the people who are out there, doing the jobs every day.
That's correct.
And serving the community, but trying to be creative and be able to still get the job done as far as accreditation, and get someone that's in there that can handle those responsibilities on a daily basis.
That's right. And this accreditation, it's going to make us all around a better department, and including those services that we offer people.
All right. Has there been any new or specialized equipment introduced to the fire department?
Hey, we're excited about this. We got a new aerial device, which is a truck 32.
Okay.
And it's a 75-foot aerial, which is and then we just received a new engine. It's going to be at Station 1 out on Davis Road.
Okay.
And next month, I think November, sometime mid-November, we're going to receive another one. It's going to be over on off Moodbridge Road at Station 4.
Okay.
And everybody get out and look at our new paint scheme. We got the black and red
Yes,
trucks,
yeah.
and man, they're really pretty. And
Yeah.
we want to make a little change there, kind of catch up with the times a little bit.
Right.
And I think we've got great response from the citizens when they see these vehicles out running around the city, and
Yes.
they see them, they're pretty.
Yes, no doubt, because in serving on the committee, those are one of the things that we wanted to do. We wanted to see, how can we be, creative? We're trying to, keep up with trends, I guess you could say, and come up with the color scheme that we came up with, and and it's been nice, and we've got a lot of great reviews from the community. The community really like the new look of the trucks, and as we continue to budget for new trucks so that we can get rid of some of our older equipment, we'll continue to be creative, and I think that's one thing that we have to do as a department. As we continue to improve our image as a department, we got to come up with creative ways to please our community. And you know, having nice equipment is one of the ways that we can
is.
actually reach out to them. And you know, and I'm quite sure that, you know, our community appreciates, you know, what we do is try to make sure we got up-to-date equipment, making sure that, you know, we keep them in mind as far as the type of equipment we have on our trucks, so we can provide the necessary services that are asked by the community. So yeah, I think those trucks are a great change for us as a department, and we're looking forward to all the other neat things that'll be coming up in the near future.
No doubt.
Let's talk about, we talked about calls earlier. Let's talk about call volume. Let's look at where we are at this point in the year versus where we were this time in 2014.
This data right here was pulled up on Monday, so you know, we've run several calls since then, but as of Monday, we were at 3,350 calls.
Okay.
You know, last year, the same date, it was 3,130. So we're a little ahead of last year. And we, you know, last year we totaled out at about 4,060 calls, 560 calls. So, you know, this year projected around 4,800. In 2013, we actually topped the 5,000 mark.
Right.
And you know, that year we had several storms come through, and I think the last 2 years, I think that's the difference of why we decreased just a tad bit.
Right.
Is because just our major storms, but our day-to-day call volume is usually around 13 calls a day, and so we're staying consistent with that.
Right. With that being said, you know, of course, medical is our highest percentage of calls, and storms. We've been very, very fortunate where storms are concerned, because we've had storms that come through and not run a call at all. That's right. You know, it's kind of weird that happens, but you know, but then sometimes, you know, all it takes is a little rain to hit the ground, and we're running all up and down the road all day, several hours. That's you know, so but yeah, call volume is definitely changing here in our department, and even though call volume has changed, we still have to continue to provide that high level of service. That's right. And making sure that we have the best personnel that we could possibly have to go out there and service our community each and every day.
That's right. Well, you know this, Chris, and real quick, you know, in 2005, 2006, we were about 2,500 calls. So in 10 years, we've doubled our call volume.
Right. And
yeah, that's
what to say what a call volume is going to be in the next 10 years.
That's right.
So, all right. Well, that was a lot of great information that you provided us as far as the fire department and where we are today. But we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll have more here on Smoke Signals.
I was a graduate 2 years ago from West Georgia Technical College. I received my associate's degree in fire science, and I'm a full-time firefighter EMT at Tripp County Fire Department. My study habits were, here at work, I was able to, during off time, actually study even more, because I wanted to keep a 4.0 GPA throughout the class, and I ended up being on the National Honor Society. By doing online classes, I was able to achieve more credits in a shorter period of time instead of just depending on in-classroom classes. The instructors and my advisors were easily accessible either by phone or by email anytime I had a question about a class. Taking online classes, you did have to be very self-motivated. It was a big change from actually sitting in a class with other students asking questions that you may not think of at the time, but when you're doing it by yourself, you have to think of all the questions.
Welcome back. we've been talking with Deputy Chief John Brandt with LaGrange Fire Department. And Chief, we got a lot of other stuff that's going to be coming up in the near future that we want to talk about. And one in particular, the month of October. October is pretty much a busy month for the fire department.
It is,
we're involved in the community a lot during the month of October, and in some cases maybe a portion of first couple of weeks of November. So what we want to talk about now is our annual Fire Prevention Week campaign, which is coming up, and is sponsored by the National Fire Protection Association. And it's Hear the Beat While You Sleep. And I actually have a little flyer here that'll kind of talks a little bit about that. The Fire Prevention Week is from October the 4th through the 10th. And the slogan here, hear the beat while you sleep. We're talking about smoke alarms. Now, if you would, Chief, kind of talk about why working smoke alarms are important to install in the homes.
Well, Chris, I think it's the single most important thing you can do to keep your family safe inside your home. It's early detection. It's always working, and it's there for you when you need it. And it doesn't wait to the situation is horrible before it activates.
Right.
And whether you're occupied doing something else or asleep, it's going to let you know. And that's the most important thing. Yes,
and with that, with smoke alarms, and these campaigns, they come every so often, according to the NFPA, and these campaigns are based on trends and statistical data that they gather every year. And the fire department community have found that smoke alarms is still an issue in our community because people don't have working smoke alarms for whatever reason, or if they have smoke alarms, they're not operating properly. They may take the batteries out or whatever the situation may be, but it's still proven that working smoke alarms save lives.
Definitely.
And we want to make sure that people take heed to that during October, because we'll actually be out talking about working smoke alarms and things of that nature, so that the community can be aware of why smoke alarms are important. And smoke alarms need to be tested at least once a month. They need to be placed on every level of the home. They need to be around the sleeping area and every bedroom.
Correct.
So that's very, very important. Some other activities going on in October. Of course, we talked about the Fire Prevention Week campaign. Of course, we can't get out in the community in 1 week and get this information
That's
out.
right.
So we dedicate the month, Fire Prevention Month, to actually go out and share this information with the community, not only smoke alarms, but other safety tips as well. And to add the smoke alarms, without another thing that has to happen is with the working smoke alarm, there must be an escape plan. So
Correct.
How important is having an escape plan?
It's very important. Like I said, it goes right along with the smoke alarm. It's just the second most important, I think, is understanding, your direction you need to go when you hear the smoke alarm in a meeting place,
Right.
Where your family knows where you're at, and the moms and dads don't want to go back in looking for their kids when the kids are already outside. So if they have that one place they can go to, they know they're accounted for, they're safe, and that's the most important. We can rebuild houses, but we can't rebuild people.
That's exactly. And having a plan and practicing that plan is another important thing too. So make sure you have working smoke alarms in your home and have an escape plan with a meeting place. October, we're going to be pretty much several events going on in the month of October. So let's talk about some of the things that the fire department is going to be participating in October. What are some things that you know of that'll be going on?
Well, something that the guys love is the station tours. When we have the schools come out to the station, pre-K and elementary kids, and they come out and see our stations where we live at. They're always amazed of that we kind of have the same things they have at home, and
right.
Our own little bedrooms, and we like to see the looks on their face when they get to see us get dressed, and to see the pretty trucks and all the equipment we have,
Right.
So we love those, and we have several of those scheduled throughout the month, and I'm sure more will be coming through as we go through the month as kids start talking about it at school or to home, and to other teachers hear about doing that. We go out to the schools. It's not feasible for all the schools to come to us, so we go out and make ourselves accessible to those kids in school, and we might go see 4 or 5 different classes, or maybe up to 7 or 8 sometimes, and see the different age groups and do those. We also do fire extinguisher training in the industrial type setting, and that's some fire safety things we have going on. And one thing I do want to talk about, Chris, is every Monday we go out to the Troup County Senior Center and do blood pressure checks every Monday. And that's been a huge success, and that's the things that we talk about fire safety. Public education and all those things. We think about kids, but we also include the elderly.
Yes.
In trying to make sure they stay healthy.
Yeah, that's very important, and not to mention we talked about the blood pressure screenings, but we'll also be doing fire safety education classes with them because statistically, our target audience is children and older adults.
That's correct.
For various reasons. And so we want to make sure that we cater to those target audience to make sure that they're as safe as they possibly can, and they have the education and resources that they need to protect themselves and the people around them in any fire or life safety situation. Okay, and with that, when you talk about October and some of the other events, career days, because there are career days that are generally scheduled in October, and so that's another big opportunity for the department to come out and actually talk to the kids about what we do every day.
That's correct.
They hear about it at station tours, but when we go out to their home, basically, we're telling them a little bit about what we do, what our work schedule's like, what type of services we provide in the community, because it's not all about just going on fires and going on EMS calls. That's but right. The non-emergency things that we do, the smoke detector programs, and going out and talk to the kids and people in the community about fire and life safety. So all those things just happens to come together and just make October just an awesome month for our department and for the community. But we also know that fire safety just is not in October, but it's all year round.
It's all year round.
Yeah. And
one thing, Chris, you talked about the career day is that's targeted in sometimes usually some teenage kids, and also can't forget about the teen maze this
yes.
at the end of the month.
Right.
And helping kids, teenagers, making the right choices. They have so many obstacles in their way these days, and,
right.
And this is a great tool to help them and educate them make the right decisions.
It is, and you make a good point about teenagers, because you hear a lot of times people say, well, the younger generation is lost. And my thing is that, for one, we shouldn't say that because words are powerful.
That's right.
But I don't look at the younger generation being lost. They're just distracted because they have a lot of distractions.
They do.
And you and I, we had distractions when we were that age, but we didn't have the distractions that they have today.
I'm close.
So I think, if we can change the distractions in their lives, they can be a lot more successful.
Correct.
Now, one big event that we have going on, this is an event the fire department's putting on, and it is Citizens Day. So let's talk a little bit about Citizens Day. What's the purpose of Citizens Day, first of all?
Well, it's fire safety. It's us, getting our information out about fire safety, but it's also us, interacting with the citizens.
Yes.
They get to see us and realize, we're just everyday people, and we want to welcome them into our homes and our stations and our lives, and let them know everything about us, and
right.
and see our equipment and all those things. So
right.
that's the biggest thing, is just getting out there and interacting with our citizens.
All right. Now, with the Citizens Day, what's the date, the time or location, and the type of activities that'll be going on?
It's October 17th. It's from 12 to 4, and it's at LaGrange Mall and Lafayette Parkway.
Okay.
And We have fire truck rides, which is always a huge success.
Yes, yes.
You know, you think it's just from little kids, but it's the big kids too.
Right.
Big kids too.
We all adults are you know, kids at heart at some time.
Right. We have muster events, which is just some fire department related events that we can compete against, and we're actually going to this year set up a kids event and an adults event, because you know, people last year wanted to compete with their parents.
Right.
And it was like, man, that's a good idea. So we decided to make two obstacle courses and let them compete against one another. So that'll be fun.
Cool.
And we have gift baskets, giveaways. That was a huge success last year.
Yep.
You know, we're getting out, and we've encouraged the guys to get out and to get donations and have a lot of baskets. So and so that's always huge. And our fire safety information, we'll have equipment out there to demonstrate, and people see our stuff, and our trucks on showcase. Blood pressure checks, which I think is a huge part of what we do. And we'll have goodie bags for the kids, and of course, Sparky will be there making his presence.
Right,
He'll be coming through.
And the kids love Sparky.
They love him, man.
And Sparky loves the kids also.
He does.
All right, and as we wrap up, where will the event be advertised? What are some of the places people can get information about the event?
Well, this year we're going to try to get out everywhere, Chris. We're going to put it in our newspapers. We're going to put it on radio stations. It's going to be on LGTV running. So that's huge. We're going to have it on our website, City of LaGrange website, our fire department website.
Okay.
LaGrange Mall, you know, they have the signs out there. We're going to try to, you know, get it on there.
Right.
I think Ms. Donna said she'd do that for us. Social media, we're encouraging all our employees to whatever social media account they're on to put it out there. And if you're watching, you know, put it on your social media account and get it out there so everybody can see it, so we can have a great turnout this year.
Right. All right, so keep that in mind. The Citizens Day event is scheduled October 17th, 2015 at LaGrange Mall. We want to encourage all our viewing artists to come out and participate if you can on that day. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you get a chance to interact and meet the firefighters and see what we do, and see some of the equipment that we have, and and win some very nice gifts that'll be given away. Get your raffle ticket, and you never know what you might end up with.
Right.
Well, Chief, we want to thank you again for taking time out to be on the show.
It's my honor.
And we want to thank each of our viewers for watching another segment of Smoke Signals. Until next time, take care.